Hi, it's Shane with Yes to Jesus Ministries, and today I just want to bring you a word from the book of Ezekiel. Now, Ezekiel's full of visions and so many wonderful and mysterious things, but towards the end of chapter 1, he actually sees the Lord. And the very last verse, 28, says, "And this was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord." And when he saw it, we get into chapter 2, he says, "When I saw it, I fell on my face." This is an appropriate response. When you encounter the Lord of all the universe, go low. This reminds me of when Jesus says in Luke 14, 7 through 11, when you're at a banquet, go to the lowest place, that the master may bring you to a higher place and honor you. Of course, that ends with, he who exalts himself will be humbled. He who humbles himself will be exalted. Shouldn't you humble yourself when you encounter the exalted one, the one above all? So he says, I fell on my face and I heard a voice of one speaking. And then watch what happens. He pulls him up higher. And he said to me, "Son of man, stand to your feet." Ezekiel took the lowest place and he said, "Stand to your feet and I will speak to you." And actually in verse 2, this is very interesting. I had never noticed this before. It says, "Then the Spirit entered when he spoke to me." The Spirit entered me when he spoke to me. Wow. Ezekiel was filled with the Spirit. Now here we're reading about this mighty prophet, mighty man of God, like he's legendary, by design. God called him to reveal these things to him and have him reveal it not only to the Israelites of that time, but to all of us who would eventually be part of the Israel of God. And so the Spirit entered him when he spoke. It says it again later in the chapter. That just totally washed over me and took me in another direction. I wasn't expecting to see that. Such a beautiful concept. That's exactly what we live in. What a privilege that we have to have the Holy Spirit. But unlike at this time, when it would fall on maybe one person at a time, or maybe a group, we all can have it. Furthermore, if you look down in chapter 2, verse 6, it says, "And you, son of man, do not be afraid of them, nor be afraid of their words." He's talking about the Jewish people when Ezekiel is fulfilling his calling to speak to them and tell them the things that the Lord is telling him to tell them. He says, "I say to you, do not be rebellious like that house, but open your mouth and eat what I give you." Wow. This also reminds me of Jeremiah chapter 15. Anyway, it says, "Now when I looked, there was a hand stretched out to me, and behold, a scroll of a book was on it. Then he spread it out before me. There was writing on the inside and on the outside, and written on it were lamentations and mourning." Beginning of chapter 3, "Moreover, he said to me, Son of man, eat what you find, eat this scroll, and go speak to the house of Israel." Now, Ezekiel has just demonstrated something, I believe. He's a prophet, so it's kind of strange to say prophetically, but I'll say prophetically in the way that it's presented so that we could see it in the future, where the Spirit enters him when it speaks. This is a foreshadowing of how the Holy Spirit will work when we have the fuller revelation of God through Jesus Christ, his express image. And here then we also have what it looks like to follow God and to be called according to his purpose. Well, what do I mean? He says, "Take what I give and eat." He gives him the scroll. Well, what do we have? Yeah, the Holy Spirit. But what was the progression before that? Jesus came. He's the Word. The Word made flesh. And what did he say? You have to eat my flesh and drink my blood. Literally, I am the bread of life. So take in my truth, and then you'll be a living epistle for all to see. You'll live out the purpose that I've called you, that I designed you to live out. Feed on me. Eat the words that I give you, my body and my flesh. It's right there for you. It's right here. Here's your bread. Feed on it and live out the purpose that He's called you to. May this bless you.